me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, hopefully I can do something. It's not letting me acknowledge anything, so.
Okay, your everything is still good, so we should be okay. Yeah, you're good to go.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Woolwich Township Committee of Adjustment meeting for February 2023. I'd like to read land acknowledgement announcement at the start of this meeting. The land on which we meet has been here for time immemorial. People have inhabited southern Ontario for about 10,000 years, and we acknowledge the neutral people, also called the Adawandrum, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee. People who live here when settlers have arrived and who share this land with us. May we together learn to care and respect each other, our flora, our fauna, and the land we inhabit together. Thank you. Okay, I will remind the committee and the members of the public that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the Township YouTube channel. This meeting is being held electronically due to effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, and precautions and measures are in place regarding social distancing to ensure the health and safety of those in attendance at our municipal office. Anyone who is registered to participate in this meeting will be invited to speak in the order that the applications are being heard this evening. I will now call a roll call committee for the benefit of the public watching this meeting. I'm going to call your name, please acknowledge. My name is Tim Cronin, and I will be chairing the meeting this evening. Jim Briley.
Present.
And Hans Pottecamper.
Present.
Those are our committee members, and from our staff, David Gundrum, our planner.
Present.
And Nancy Thompson, our secretary treasurer.
Present.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, I will now provide an explanation of the procedures for this meeting. Each application will be read by Nancy, and she will ask each applicant to make a brief presentation, not to exceed 5 minutes. The committee will be given an opportunity to question the applicant. Then any other person who has registered with the recording secretary and is wishing to address the application, either for or against, will be given the opportunity to speak. Please make sure that you've turned on your microphone and video and identified yourself clearly to the recording secretary. After everyone has had an opportunity to speak, the committee will make a decision on the application. Once discussion on your application is completed, please mute your microphone and turn off your video. You're free to leave the meeting at this time or stay and listen to the balance of the applications. The applicants are advised that each application has a 20-day appeal period as required under the Planning Act. And then in accordance with Bill 23, which received royal assent November 2022, appeals may only be submitted by the applicant, the municipality, certain public bodies, and the minister. The last day of appeal for applications heard today is March the 9th, 2023. At this time, I'll ask any members of the committee if they are declaring a pecuniary conflict of interest with any of the applications.
No. No.
And I have none. Thank you very much. Okay, Nancy, I would ask you to read the first application.
Thanks, Tim. The first application this evening is for minor variance application A3 2023 for numbered company 2224167 Ontario Inc. The property is located at 251-271 Florapine Road. The property is zoned agricultural with site-specific provisions in section 26.1.3 and contains a single detached dwelling, a detached garage, and a millwright operation. The applicant is requesting relief from site-specific section 26.1.3I to increase the area of operation from approximately 2,695 square meters, 0.6 hectares, to approximately 14,374 square meters, 1.4 hectares, to recognize the existing outdoor storage, parking, and loading areas that are associated with the millwright operations. No building additions are proposed. The site-specific zoning permits the millwright operation on the subject property. And as noted, the property owner did reach out to me this morning, noting he had a medical emergency to attend to and is therefore not in attendance. He did indicate, however, he had no concerns with the recommendation as proposed by staff.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Anyone else here to speak either for or against the proposal, Nancy?
Not for this particular application.
Thank you. Committee, you have a choice to either deal with it or propose a deferral. What's your pleasure, committee? Or any questions of staff you may have? Hans?
Mr. Chair, I don't have any questions or concerns with this application. It's very straightforward. And I'm in agreement with the recommendations made by staff and that the applicant has already agreed to.
Okay, do you want to make a motion then to what the recommendations then? Go ahead, Hans.
I move that minor variance application A3 2023 be approved as presented, including the addition of clauses A and B as spelled out in the material provided.
Thank you, Hans. Seconder? And Jim is seconding the motion. Any more discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? And that motion is carried unanimously, Nancy. Thank you very much. You can let the applicant know that it's been approved and subject to the appeal period. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. The next application this evening is minor variance application A4 2023 for Safety Clean Canada Inc. for the property located at 300 Woolwich Street South in Breslau. The property is zoned general industrial dry with site-specific provisions in section 26.1.87 and 26.1.326. And this property is developed with an oil re-refinery. The applicant is requesting relief from site-specific section 26.1.326 to permit a hydrogen generator as a permitted use at the rear of the site. The proposed generator is accessory to the operation, is the size of a shipping container, and is proposed to be placed on a concrete pad to the rear of the existing safety flare. Brock Linkletter from Dryden Smith and Head Consulting is here to speak to the application. As well, there are four parties from Safety Clean as well.
Thank you.
Brock?
Well, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee and staff. Thank you, Nancy, for your summary of our application. My name is Brock Linklater from Dryden Smith and Head Planning Consultants in Kitchener. I'm here speaking on behalf of Safety Clean Canada, located at 300 Woolwich Street South in Breslau. I'm joined on the call here by Drew Lemke, Chamel Zacco, Abton, as well as Frank Wagner, who represent Safety Clean. Safety Clean is requesting to vary the existing site-specific provision known as 26.1.326 to identify a hydrogen generator as a permitted accessory industrial use. The hydrogen generator would be located to the existing main industrial use, which is a used oil recycling facility, and would be placed within a fenced enclosure that totals 125 square meters in total area. The hydrogen generator would then be placed within this fenced enclosure. The reason why this variance is being requested today is due to the site-specific zoning provision, 26.1.326, not currently being explicit enough in its wording to allow for the proposed hydrogen generator use on the property. We echo the comments made by staff in the staff report and agree that the proposal is indeed minor in nature, as the proposed hydrogen generator is of small size and will complement the existing industrial oil recycling facility use on the subject site. The addition of this small-scale industrial use maintains the intent of the site-specific zoning placed on the property and also conforms with the OP, as it's located within the Safety Clean Industrial Designation area, which allows for dry industrial uses, which can also include accessory uses to the principal use on the site, such as a hydrogen generator. We have read over the staff report and are in support of the recommendation to approve. I would be happy to address any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Linkletter. Committee, do you have any questions of the applicant? Yes, Hans.
The only question I have is how much noise is generated by this proposed change, given that up to now you're getting your hydrogen by tanker truck.
I can't specifically answer how much noise it might add to the existing operation. I do know that it uses less natural gas. It's smaller than other comparable power generating systems. I'm not sure exactly about the noise production of the generator.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh, you can hear me now. Okay. Yes, Frank Wagner, with Safety Clean, just to help answer the question. We are required to meet Ontario Ministry of Environment noise standards, and part of the modeling, air modeling, includes a noise survey. And my understanding is this unit will be insignificant as far as the operation. No, we do have limits that we have to meet, and we will be meeting those limits.
thank you, Frank. Does that answer your question there, Hans?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I have another question, not really concerned, but is this an emergency backup generator, or is this a cogen type of facility that you're creating? And either one of you guys can answer that.
Maybe you can handle that one for Hans as well.
Yeah, unless Jamal, did you want to respond to that question?
Yeah, it's not an emergency generator. It'll be a continuous operation to supplement the existing re-refinery.
Okay, thank you. Then the follow-up question is, how many megawatt or kilowatt unit is it?
It's more, I think, measured off of the amount of hydrogen that it produces. So the hydrogen is actually used within our process and will be consumed. The hydrogen that we produce through this generator will be consumed in our process.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I probably should have read that in there. This is not a electrical generation. This is for producing hydrogen. Okay, now I understand. Thank you for the clarification. I should have read that into the report, but that clears up the purpose of the unit. Then, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else here, Nancy, to speak to either for or against this application?
No, Tim, all the parties are with Safety Clean.
Thank you. Committee, any more questions of staff or anyone else, or any more comments?
Comment through you,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
I was concerned, and I did read it over, and I did not know how explosive is this hydrogen if there was a problem.
Can one of you guys answer the explosive nature of the process here, or?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
He's wondering about the explosive content of the hydrogen, looking for I'm assuming the safety aspect of this and how safe the operation is. I'm paraphrasing what he's asking. So are we dealing with an explosive product that you're producing, and what programs do you have to mitigate any potential explosions?
Got it. Yeah, so hydrogen by nature does have a very wide explosive limit. Hydrogen is currently used in our process, and we have numerous safety protocols to manage that. Everything from emergency response plans to automation within the plant, such that there's automatic shutdown if anything was to take place, or any diversion of flow was to take place unintentionally. As an organization, we also review all our risks on an ongoing basis and document those and mitigate those. And also, this system is being purchased as a standalone. Almost think of it like an off-the-shelf unit from Air Products, who's manufacturing this. Air Products has extensive global experience in the production and manufacturing of hydrogen, and there are numerous safety systems in place in this system as well.
Thank you. And then just along the same line, is there any concerns of release of hydrogen gas to the atmosphere if there's a leak?
I think it would be the same or a lower risk than what we're currently operating under now. Again, keep in mind that our current operation utilizes hydrogen. We're just talking about now, instead of bringing hydrogen on the road, producing the hydrogen on site. So the end state is still this hydrogen gas that's input into our process on a continuous basis, and in that sense, the risk is the same.
Thank you very much. Does that answer your questions, committee?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hans, Jim, any recommendations or motions or more comments? Yes, Jim.
Yes, through Chair, I would like to make a motion that minor variance application A4 2023 regarding Safety Clean Canada Inc. concerning a on-site generator to produce hydrogen be approved.
Thank you. Seconder, Ryan
I will
Hans.
second.
Thank you, Hans, for that. Any more discussion on the motion? All those in favor? And that motion is carried unanimous again, Nancy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for attending. Thank you for your information you provided us, and good luck with the project. Remember the appeal period for 20 days, and you may either stay on or you may leave. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank
I'll
you.
I'll
Thank
email
you.
out a copy of the decision.
Okay, Nancy, our last application.
Yeah, the last application this evening is for minor variance application A5 2023 for our Mennonite Central Committee, Ontario, for the property located at 59 Church Street West in Elmira. The property is zoned core commercial urban with floodway and flood fringe policies with site-specific provisions in section 26.1.35 and contains a retail thrift store. The applicant is requesting relief from section 16.3.3 buffer strips for an exemption to the installation of buffer strips where the subject property abuts a residential zone. The property is mostly bounded by residential zone properties on the south, southeast, and west sides of the property, and a portion is adjacent to township-owned open space land. And Linda Lynch is here on behalf of Mennonite Central Committee to speak to the application.
Thank you very much, Linda.
Thanks, Tim. My name is Linda Lynch, as Nancy said. I'm Thrift Director with Mennonite Central Committee, Ontario. And as we're currently in the process of refreshing and updating the thrift and gift shop at 59 Church Street, what we'd like to do is add a canopy over our receiving doors to protect our staff and volunteers from weather. But obviously, to gain approval for the canopy, we're looking for an exemption to the buffer strip requirement that exists in the current bylaw.
Okay, thank you very much. Staff, any questions of the applicant? No question there. Nancy, anyone else have a question? Marilyn didn't want to speak, and Brock is from Safety Clean, so there's no one else online. And Marilyn, you're okay with that?
Yep, that's fine.
I have one question to the staff here, just to clean it up. You're asking for, if necessary, to add fencing behind 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 Schneider Avenue. If I'm looking at the picture you provided, it looks like it goes 12, 14, and 16 are also properties. Why are the last 2 properties along Schneider not included in the fence recommendation?
Through the chair, Member Cronin, good question. That's based on where the existing parking areas are located on the site. So 14 and 16 don't back onto any existing paved areas that are identified or utilized for parking. So there wouldn't be any triggering need for the buffer strips given the activities in those areas. So that's why we isolated to the particular properties that are identified in the report. So.
Okay, that answers that. So there's no, there could be no extension of the parking lot into these areas. I recognize it wasn't paved, but if they want to pave it, they'd be back for more another minor variance of sorts.
Unless through the chair, that's correct. Unless the buffer strip, there are buffer strips that would be installed as a future expansion to that parking lot area. Yeah.
So, but if I'm reading this correctly, it allows for the buffer strip around the whole property or all the residential properties to be eliminated. Is that correct?
Through the chair, no, that's not correct. It only applies to the properties as identified in the condition in the report.
Oh, that means
So yeah, so it only applies to those areas where it needs to apply to currently. So based on the existing development on the site.
okay, sorry, I've just reread the application. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Can I get a clarification, please? This is Marilyn.
Okay, Marilyn, yes, you may.
So is there fencing going along the back property up to 12 and 14 or no?
If David can correct me, the way I'm reading this, the fencing will only come into effect if it just okay, I'll let you explain it, David. You're better on the fencing requirement.
Sure. Through the chair, yeah, Marilyn, just to clarify, the property would be exempt from having to provide buffer strips up to and including backing onto number 12 Snyder Avenue South. So it doesn't include number 14 and number 16 further south. Yeah.
So it would be exempt. So there wouldn't be any fencing? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that it would only come up to and include number 12 that the MCC would be exempt from having to provide a buffer strip in that area. So in lieu of a buffer strip, fencing would be sufficient. The bylaw requires a buffer strip in that area, but in lieu of that, if there's other screening, i.e. like a fence, then that would be acceptable. So.
And is that in the plan, or is that a maybe or an if or a?
Oh no, that's written into the recommendation here, that they're exempt from having to provide a vegetated buffer strip that would back onto down to number 12, but no further than that if there's fencing in place. So.
And the fencing only needs to be required if the existing fencing is removed. I think the way it wrote in here is a requirement. The owners of subject property be responsible for installing and maintaining any appropriate solid board fencing, minimum 1.8 meters along properties boundaries abutting residential zone lands located at 61 Church Street East, West, and 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 Snyder Avenue South, respectively, should existing private fencing be removed in the future. So if the existing fencing is removed, then MCC would be required to install fencing at their
So
cost.
this refers to existing fencing, correct?
That's correct.
Which is only actually on the side of lot 4 there, or number 4. There is no fencing on the backs of.
Okay, Marilyn, without getting it too far into this, but what it is we're removing the requirement for a buffer to be in there. So right now they need a buffer of vegetation. So if the buffer, and they're required, if the buffer goes away, they would be required to put fencing in if they needed to encroach on the buffer zone. So that's what we're allowing them to do, is to use the fence instead of the buffer if required. So where it's existing, really nothing's going to happen at all right now from this report.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
But Doug,
Okay.
right here there, Dave, did that make sense what I had said, Dave?
Through the chair, that's correct, Member Cronin. So in lieu of if basically we're exempting MCC from having to provide a buffer in that area. And if they don't provide a buffer, they otherwise have to provide a board fence where none exists. But if there is a buffer there, then that would be
That remains there. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Because there's a large berm there at the back of all those properties. So that probably would suffice.
Nothing's been happening with that berm. It's not included.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Marilyn. Committee, any more questions, comments? Decisions?
Mr. Chair,
go ahead.
I move acceptance of minor variance application A5 2023 Mennonite Central Committee be approved, subject to conditions 1 and conditions A and B as spelled out in the attached material.
Thank you. Seconder?
I will second that.
Jim, thank you for seconding the motion. Any more discussion on the motion? I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion? And that's everyone. So we'll make that unanimous again, Nancy. The motion's carried unanimous. Remember the appeal period for 20 days and good luck with your canopy. Nancy, next.
That is it for the applications this evening. We have the minutes from January. And as noted, as Jim was not in attendance, then he is not in a position to move or second the minutes.
Thank you.
So I think
Hans,
that's
have
the rest of you.
read the minutes?
I have, Mr. Chair, and I recommend acceptance of the minutes as published.
Okay, a motion from Hans to move the minutes as accepted, and I will second the motion. Any discussion, Hans? All those in favor? You and I, Hans, I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
And that motion is carried as well. Any more business for the Committee of Adjustment this evening, Nancy?
No, I have nothing new to add. We are working on the next agenda package, which at this point includes 7 applications. So it will be a little bit longer meeting next month.
And Charles may be back to chair it.
Yes. Yeah. So we will for sure be going with a March meeting with the existing committee. And then pending the council decision on committee appointments, but I believe a report is going the 21st. I'm not sure. Clerk's department has prepared a report. I'm just not sure on the timing of it. But we'll see the turnover then likely for the April meeting.
Okay, we'll see you both next, or all 4 of you next meeting again, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much.
Sounds good. And David, you had nothing to add?
No, nothing further. I'll just add for March, we might see that Lob Singer line severance, the one that was deferred in January, come back. But no guarantees at this point.
What about the one over on Westmount? Is it Westmount Road? Yeah, by Westmount Road. Whatever happened to that one?
Oh,
The
Nancy, do you
Mueller
know?
one.
Right. Yeah, there's still some ongoing work in the background. Chances are it looks like, so we gave them a 12-month deferral on that. They may have to come back for an extension on that deferral from the sounds of there's a number of technical issues they're trying to work through, and